Earth is flat.
And that's beyond the pole on the other side of the South Pole, from Little America. And I think it's quite astonishing that there should be an area as big as that unexplored.
If you're looking for a book with grammatically correct sentences and is lots of fun and fiction, go pick yourself up a Harlequin romance or Stephen King novel, or better yet, a free NASA pamphlet. If you want facts with a flow that is in your face, as if I were speaking to you, stay here. What you're about to hear and see, you cannot deny. You can verify anything, only a click away, as I show you where to look. I will lead you to water, but nobody says you have to drink. I'm not here to convince you of anything. Only present truth and facts. Think of this as the veil being lifted from your brain. Before I started, don't forget to subscribe my channel and share this information to your family, your friends, and everyone, and also hit a like button if you like it. So, here we go! This is the common question in my comment sections. Question: if the earth were flat, wouldn't the sun be visible to everyone in every country at the same time? Answer: no. The sun is much closer and much smaller than modern astronomy would have you believe. Because the sun is relatively small and very close to the earth, it cannot be seen from all places at all times. Nor can it light up the entire world at one time. Jehovah's wisdom is unsearchable, and his design is marvelous. Consider how simple this makes the Genesis account. And Jehovah said, "Let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven, to divide the day from the night. And let them be for signs, and for seasons, and for days, and years. And let them be for lights in the firmament of the heaven, to give light upon the earth." And it was so. And Joshua made two great lights. The greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also. And Joshua set them in the firmament of the heaven, to give light upon the earth, and to rule over the day, and over the night, and to divide the light from the darkness. And Jehovah and Joshua saw that it was good. And the evening and the morning were the fourth day. To whom then will ye liken me, or shall I be equal? Said the Holy One. Lift up your eyes on high, and behold who hath created these things, that bringeth out their host by number. He calleth them all by names, by the greatness of his might, for that he is strong in power. Not one faileth. Samuel Burley wrote at them in his book said, "As it is now demonstrated that the earth is a plane, the distance of the sun and stars may readily be measured by plane trigonometry. This distance will be thus found to be considerably less than 4,000 miles. The same method of measuring distances applies equally to the stars, and it is easy to demonstrate, beyond the possibility of doubt, so long as the same premises are excluded, that all the visible objects in the firmament are contained within the distance of 6,000 miles. One of the fables, which our astronomers seem to delight in telling us, is that the distance between the Earth and the Sun is so great that it would take an express train going at the rate of 60 miles per hour, 173 years to reach it, at which wonderful news I doubt not that Dominique Sampson, could he hear it, would exclaim with special emphasis, "Prodigious!" What would be thought of a man who wanted to light his dining room with a lamp 1,240,000 times larger than the room itself? Would not his friends think him only fit for a lunatic asylum? Yet such a preposterous act with respect to the lighting of this world, if not attributed by some astronomers to their own deity natural law, is palmed upon the Jehovah of hosts, who is wonderful in counsel, and excellent in working. He doeth all things well, proportioning the means to the end which he has in view. David Wardle Scott said, "It appears to me that modern astronomy, like Roman Catholicism, is an attempt to revive pagan superstition. The former, for temples, has observatories, and the latter, for the Pantheon, has the Vatican. For Baal, the astronomers have Newton, and for Astarte, the Queen of Heaven, the Roman Catholics have the Virgin Mary. The Bible order of the heavens has been completely subverted by our astronomers. Instead of the sun revolving round the world is declared to revolve round it, as a mere planet of little note in astronomic esteem, although the blessed Son of God gave his own heart's blood for its redemption. Angels desire to look into that wondrous sacrifice, which scientists like Huxley and Darwin regard only with cynical scorn, because of their ignorance of that in which the highest and truest science consists. Question. Countless explorers have circumnavigated the globe. How do you explain this if the Earth is flat? Answer. These explorers or sailors simply sailed east or west until they arrived again at their starting point. This in no way indicates that the world is round. When using a compass to navigate land or sea, the needle will always point towards the North Pole, from which east and west can be determined. Polaris, the North Star, also serves as a reliable beacon of true north, from which east and west can be easily ascertained. On the flat Earth, if one were to head due east or west via the compass or Polaris, they would inevitably end up back at their original starting point. Note that the North Pole is at the center of the Earth. The entire outer ring then is south. If one sails due east or west, they will inevitably end up back where they started. Note, explorers in the 1700s and 1800s estimated that they had traversed more than 50,000 miles when trying to circumnavigate Antarctica, which is actually the outer ice ring on the flat Earth. For example, James Cook, James Clark Ross, the British Challenger expedition. Bear in mind that, according to NASA, the globe is only 25,000 miles in circumference. Another proof of the flat Earth, while the Earth has been circumnavigated east to west and west to east, it cannot be done going north to south, that is, beginning at the North Pole, traveling south on the front of the globe to the South Pole at the bottom, and then continuing in the same direction to return on the back of the globe to the North Pole on top. Question. Is the Earth's shadow upon the Moon during a lunar eclipse not proof that the Earth is a globe? Answer. The suggestion that it is the Earth's shadow that causes a lunar eclipse is nothing more than assumption. It is not known with certainty what causes lunar eclipses. There have been testimonies in the past of the Sun and Moon both being visible in the sky during a lunar eclipse. This would not be possible if the Earth's shadow was responsible for the eclipse. The following is an excerpt from Zetetic Astronomy, Earth Not a Globe, by Samuel Burley Robotham. An eclipse of the Sun is caused simply by the Moon passing before it, or between it, and the observer on the Earth. Of this, no question has been raised. But that an eclipse of the Moon arises from a shadow of the Earth is in every respect unsatisfactory. The Earth has been proved to have no motion either upon axis or in an orbit round the Sun, and therefore it could never come between the Sun and the Moon. The Earth is proved to be a plane always underneath the Sun and Moon, and therefore to speak of its intercepting the light of the Sun and thus casting its own shadow upon the Moon is to say that which is impossible. Besides this, cases are on record of the Sun and eclipsed Moon being above the horizon together. the full moon has sometimes been seen above the horizon before the sun was set. A remarkable instance of this kind was observed at Paris on the 19th of July, 1750, when the moon appeared visibly eclipsed, while the sun was distinctly to be seen above the horizon. On the 20th of April, 1837, the moon appeared to rise eclipsed before the sun had set. The same phenomenon was observed on the 20th of September, 1717. In the lunar eclipses of July 17, 1590, November 3, 1648, June 16, 1666, and May 26, 1668, the moon rose eclipsed, whilst the sun was still apparently above the horizon. Those horizontal eclipses were noticed as early as the time of Pliny. The following is an excerpt from Terra Firma, The Earth Not a Planet, Proof from Scripture, Reason, and Fact, by David Wardlaw Scott. The moon has been a sad trouble to our modern astronomers, as she has so often belied their theories. But, being determined to make use of her somehow, they assert that the globularity of the world is proved by the shadow of the Earth passing over her in a round, formed during a lunar eclipse. Mrs. Somerville in her Physical Sciences said, before entering into this subject, it may be as well to say a few words respecting eclipses. Many people, when they find that an eclipse takes place at the time predicted, are apt to think, what a wonderful science modern astronomy must be, that can foretell such events so exactly. But the truth is, that the recurrence of eclipses are mere matters of calculation, from those which have happened at certain times before, and it is known by experience, that such will take place at certain times again. The Chaldeans calculated them thousands of years ago, and Aristarchus and Ptolemy could predict them as well as Newton or Laplace. No particular theory is required to calculate eclipses, and the calculations may be made with equal accuracy, independent of every theory. I remember a good story respecting a man who had been summoned to give evidence in a certain trial. He did not appear, but a friend came in his stead. "Why," asked the judge, "does Mr. Blank not appear?" "My lord," replied the man, "I could give your lordship a dozen reasons why he could not come." "Let us have them, then," said the judge. "In the first place, my lord, my friend is dead." "That will do," said his lordship, "you can keep your 11 other reasons to yourself." So the earth having been proved by experiment to have no curvature, and is declared by God to be founded upon the seas, and established upon the floods, that fact ought, as a matter of course, to be a sufficient reason why it is not a wandering planet, and, therefore, that it would be as impossible for its shadow to cause an eclipse of the moon, as for that dead man to give evidence in a court of law. Still, perhaps, it may be useful and interesting to make a few remarks respecting this alleged proof, as they will show some of the great mistakes which our modern astronomers have made. According to the Newtonian theory, it is necessary in a lunar eclipse for the sun to be on the opposite side of the supposed globular Earth, so that the Earth's shadow may thus in passing be cast upon the moon. But, as lunar eclipses have occurred, when both the sun and the moon were above the horizon, it stands to reason that, in such circumstances, it would be absolutely impossible for the shadow of the Earth to have been the cause of the eclipse of the moon. During an eclipse of the moon, its surface has repeatedly been seen during the whole time it lasted, thus clearly proving that its eclipse could not have been caused by the shadow of the Earth. I quote the following illustration of the fact from what took place at Cullompton, Devonshire, on March 19, 1848. The appearances were as usual till 20 minutes past 9. At that period, and for the space of the next hour, instead of an eclipse, or the shadow, umbra, of the Earth, being the cause of the total obscurity of the moon, the whole face of that body became very quickly and most beautifully illuminated, and assumed the appearance of the glowing heat of fire from the furnace, rather than tinged with a deep red. The whole disk of the moon being as perfect, with light as if there had been no eclipse whatever. The moon positively gave good light from its disk during the total eclipse. Again, the Earth, with a supposed diameter of 8,000 miles, is said to revolve round the Sun, with a velocity of about 1,000 miles per minute. The Moon being reckoned to have a diameter of 2,200 miles, and to go round the Earth at the rate of 180 miles per minute. Thus, according to calculation, the eclipse of the Moon, by the shadow of the Earth passing it, should not take 4 minutes, whereas the usual time occupied by a lunar eclipse is generally about 2 hours, and it has been known to have been extended to 4. Parallax sums up the matter as follows, and quotes several instances to show that the opinion has lately gained ground among astronomers of note that there are non-luminous bodies in the heavens, which may cause an eclipse of the Moon. As a solar eclipse occurs from the Moon passing before the Sun, so, from the evidence above collected, it is evident that a lunar eclipse arises from a similar cause. A body, semi-transparent and well-defined, passing before the Moon, or between the Moon's surface and the observer on the surface of the Earth. That many such bodies exist in the firmament is almost a matter of certainty, and that one, such as that which eclipses the Moon, exists at no great distance above the Earth's surface, is a matter admitted by many of the leading astronomers of the day. It is thus clearly evident that there is not the shadow of a proof that the shadow of the Earth is the cause of a lunar eclipse, and therefore, no argument can be drawn from this alleged proof that the Earth is a globular planet.
The Earth is flat.
And that's beyond the pole on the other side of the South Pole, from Little Mark. And I think it's quite astonishing that there should be an area as big as that unexplored.